I had to
What's up,
calm down a
everyone?
little bit.
Were
I
you
was
raging?
raging
At me?
against the machine.
Oh, you
Yeah.
shoot.
They turned out to be commies,
They're all
didn't they?
communists.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Bad, bad band. I used to think they were okay.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Is System of a Down, they commies?
I don't know. They could be.
I hope not.
I don't know.
What about Rammstein?
Um,
What
I
happened
don't
to
know.
these bands?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to
All
that. I
right.
have no idea.
Happy Easter
Happy
to
Easter,
everybody who
everyone.
celebrates Easter. And welcome to the backyard. The
Nick,
different view of the backyard.
Nick
Usually
Rooney.
I'm sitting where Kathy is. And
Uh
now,
huh. So what do you want me to do?
what?
What do you want me to do?
Say hi to everybody.
I did. Hello,
Oh,
everyone. Hello, Mexican Stuck, Joe K, Dripping Glass, Penny Head, Steve B,
welcome all.
The Man, John Oskowski says, "Hey, Uncle Tony.
I knew
Your
he'd be here.
backyard is bigger than I thought," Mexican Stuck says.
Well, we
It goes
actually,
around the house. It goes around
it
the
goes
back of
around the
the
house.
house.
But last year originally we had a fence. You see where the new fence is,
Yeah.
the old
Okay,
fence
here,
is?
see? You can see we didn't change all of it.
Yeah.
Some of it.
So we just kept it tight because I used that side of the yard, cars in and out and everything else. So now with Winnie, and we're going to set up an agility course back here, we just extended the fence to the property line.
Yeah. All the way to that.
All the way to the back for my puppy.
Yeah.
That was like a $4,000 investment for the puppy.
It's okay.
She's cost me a lot, but she's worth every penny. I mean, don't get me wrong. You figure we're close to the 10 grand dog mark yet?
No.
We gotta be.
No. Do a
The
burnout,
treats,
Tony.
the classes, the
Yeah, but classes aren't
damage.
expensive. Do a burnout. Can you do a burnout?
I'm not wearing shoes.
Dr.
Otherwise,
Art says hello everyone and let Tony know no more work for Art.
good going, Dr. Art. Dr. Art is going to be a full-time YouTuber.
Oh, he's done working.
Yeah, he went back to work, and we talked about that.
Oh,
He's
you did?
Yeah, he's wasting his time and his talent. The guy,
Oh.
he's a really good YouTuber. He just needs to keep at it. And so
Yeah.
congratulations, Dr. Art. Anything that we can do,
Congrats.
you let me know.
Let's see. Winnie ate your Henny block.
Uh, do I have a Hemi block here?
No. I
No,
don't
right?
think
Don't we have one in the shed?
So. I don't know.
I think we got a Hemi in the shed in the
That is a
corner.
mess.
Yeah, it's-
I don't know.
I know there's at least one big block. There's a couple of 383s in there, and there might be a Hemi in there too.
There's a lot of Chinese in there.
A lot of what?
Transmissions.
There's a bunch of
You know how I know?
727s in there. Yes,
I moved them
yes.
to clean out the shed. They're very heavy. What's up, Barry?
Yeah, those are my like stash transmissions that I deny that I own to any of my friends that need torque flight parts. I'm sorry, one of my friends just asked for torque flight parts and I lied to them.
Who?
I don't remember.
Was it Dr. Art? Because he's
It might have
watching
been
you.
it might have been Dr. Hart. Well, I know that we have
He's
well,
probably watching you too.
well I know that we have Kiwi's transmission at the shop. But
Oh, Joe K sent you a super chat for a doggy treat.
thank you, Joe K.
Thank you, Joe.
So I have Kiwi's 727 at the shop, and I already know it's going to need a pump. So I'm going to have to lie to Kiwi. So I hope he's not watching this.
I'm sure he's watching. He knows you're gonna lie to him.
That's my secret 727 stash.
So Ari's here tonight.
Ari was on the live on Wednesday.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, Ari's always with us. Zero's always with us. Fubar's always with us. They're just not always here.
I know.
But they're here. They're with us.
Yes.
You know?
Mexican Spec is always here with us.
Mexican Spec is always here with us, yes. Well, Mexican Spec literally is always here with us.
Uh-huh. Rocco says it's not lying if you can't remember who you lied to. Laugh out loud.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see. Ari's busy doing a SEMA car? Maybe. Lives are a priority, Mexican Spec says. I like how he takes the lives seriously. That's really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kiwi doesn't watch your channel, Jeff Hutchins says.
He doesn't. He
No,
doesn't. He's
probably
too smart
not.
for that. I used to lie to my friends about being able to do transmissions too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how to do that.
you lie about everything you do.
Oh, seriously.
Because you don't know how to do any of this stuff that we talk
None of it.
about. All right. So, what's new, Tony?
What is new?
I don't know. What is new?
Birds.
Birds are new. Yeah.
Um,
We have a lot of birds.
Yes. What is new? What is new? Let's see. So today, what did I do today? It's a blur.
You made a video. Did you put the alternator in the Jeep?
I put the alternator in the Jeep, and it's good. And then I was gonna bring it home tonight, but I didn't. So I'll bring it home tomorrow so she can clean it up. Hey, Winnie. I did some jetting on Slag Hammer just to balance it out a little bit. One cylinder looked a little lean. One looked a little, so we balanced around the jetting a little bit on that. What else? What else did I do? I don't know. I made a video.
Yeah, you made a video.
I ate at the Mexican buffet,
Oh, you did?
right? Which she won't go to.
No.
She hates it.
I won't go there. It's gross. Sorry.
They're such nice people.
No, I'm sure they're very nice people.
And they make the chicken with that
Okay, the meat is green.
with the queso
The
sauce
meat
and
is green.
oh my god, it's so delicious.
And everything is really salty. So,
It's all very delicious.
no.
Kathy doesn't like delicious things. Kathy has these like products of these wasp tastes.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
she doesn't
right.
like seasoning or anything like that.
Wait.
Winnie,
Mexican buffet? 0 cents.
yes, yes, every Sunday.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's freaking delicious. She doesn't like it.
It's not healthy. How many margaritas, Tony?
I don't drink.
No.
I don't drink.
No, I do like Mexican food. I just don't like that buffet.
Winnie,
When are you going to learn how to throw Frisbee?
I can't throw a Frisbee.
It's the wrist, not the arm.
I can't do anything athletic. You know that.
It's okay. I'll be inside on the computer working on something, working on video, and I hear boom hitting the house. Boom. I'm like, what is hitting the house? Oh, he's throwing the Frisbee.
Yeah, I can't throw a ball. I can't throw a Frisbee.
It's pretty funny. What the hell is this place called? This place in Port still sucks. What place?
What place?
I don't know. It's not a discus, it's a Frisbee. Okay. Discus, yeah, whole arm. Use your whole arm to throw, right?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Frisbee, right? Just the wrist. You don't move the arm. You keep the arm stable, and you flick your
How
wrist.
about you throw it?
Oh, I do throw it all the time.
Okay.
I'm just telling you how to do it. Good evening, Paul. Happy Easter.
Well, the
other Paul.
other kids were learning how to do all of that stuff. I was
Well, I
learning how to
just
turn
learned how to
wrenches.
do it now.
Have you seen some of the fancy moves I do with wrenches?
No, you
Well,
won't
what
put
the-
them on video.
I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Like, mechanic tricks and stuff,
Yes,
right?
yes, you do
Yes.
mechanic tricks.
Okay, so I can't throw a ball, but I can do fancy things while I'm twirling wrenches.
Tony does not simply flick a wrist on him. Oh, man. This place is called UTB, Uncle Tony's Backyard. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the other half of the backyard. We didn't plant the garden yet, so there's all dirt behind
Yes.
Tony. So ignore the dirt. Soon. Caleb says, love the new shop, Tony. How are you liking it?
I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
The energy is great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the other place it was good. I got along with the landlords. I got along with everybody. But I don't know. There was just something about the building. It was very warehousey. Like, I was in there by myself. I felt like a little dot. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And in this place, I'm just totally at home. It's great. It's like having just a big, oversized 2-car garage. The energy is really nice there. And the landlord, John, is a friend of mine. You're going to see his car soon. He has he's doing 2 Hellcat swaps. He's got a 71 Roadrunner and a 72 Barracuda that are both getting in the process right now of getting Hellcat swaps. And he's got a 73, 72 or 73 Challenger that you're going to be seeing on the channel within a couple of days or so, because I've got to straighten out some wiring under the hood. But it's great. I'm loving
Very
it.
cozy.
It's very cozy.
I really like it.
It's very cozy. It's very manageable.
Harley Hook says the new shop you do and take the new content. Wait, sorry, I can't read. The new shop and the new content is great. UTG, keep up the great work.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Lucas says, hope you all had a good day.
And you know what was funny? The other day I was over at the storage place.
Were you?
Well, you know, I got one motorcycle over there. I got, stuff. And I was feeling very nostalgic towards that.
Are you really? You
Yeah.
like the storage place?
What's that?
You like the storage place?
I did. I tell you
so
what.
Dirty.
No lie, I like the storage place better than I like the previous shop.
The previous shop?
Yeah.
Not
Again,
the shop you're in now.
No, the shop I'm in now is the shop I'm in now. I've only been in there for 2 months now, right? Is it 2 months? Wow, that flew.
I know.
I'm only in there for 2 months now. I can only recall one other shop that I've been in over the course of my life that I felt more at home in, that I liked, really liked. And that was the one that I gave up to do the coffee house.
Right.
Which incidentally is in the backyard of the storage places. I have since I moved here to Tennessee, I've had this long history with that immediate area where the storage places are.
And we go to Train Winnie over there too now.
And we go to Train Winnie over there also.
Like we can't get away from it.
Yep.
Mike Frederick says Cliff Romer, he called himself the Brunt Brothers, true or false?
Yes. The Brunt Brothers and Al Dente and oh God, he used so many different names. So have you seen this car, Kathy? Oh, I know you have.
What?
The Cars Illustrated Facebook page?
I have seen it, yes. It comes up sometimes in my newsfeed because I have friends that actually share things from it.
I was on it. I looked at it yesterday.
It's horrifying, right?
It's all me.
I know. It's all you. And they never mention your name. So wait, I saw today, you're gonna die. The picture of you racing Charlie. The Roadrunner versus Charlie, right?
Yes. I saw that.
They're putting it on a t-shirt and they're selling it. That photo.
Who is?
Cars Illustrated.
Summit Racing is selling.
Well, Cars Illustrated is making it and they have it on Summit to sell. Your face and your car. But don't mention your name. It's so screwed up. Like, it's really screwed up. I'm sorry. I'm not hiding how I feel about that.
Just
It's
for the
really screwed up.
just for the record, if you guys want to check this out, okay? Summit Racing is selling a Cars Illustrated commemorative T-shirt, okay? And it has a cover of Cars Illustrated on it. And there's two cars on the cover doing a burnout, right? I'm driving both of the cars.
And then they did this 80s kind of striper on the cover, which you would never have put in the magazine. I thought it was really weird.
It's surreal. You know, let me tell you, I have a very surreal life.
But it blows my mind that they're going to take that photo and put that on a t-shirt too. Like, it's your picture. It's like everything you've done.
I know.
It's really weird. It's really weird. How is that possible? I don't know, Stray Bullet. They're doing it though. I don't know.
Okay.
They share all of your articles.
I know.
But they don't mention your name.
I know.
People in the comments have to say that's Tony.
I know. I see it all the time.
It's so bizarre.
All right. So okay.
And what's weird about it for me is, like, I'm looking at portions of my life.
Yeah.
Like that Roadrunner, we brought the baby home in the hospital with that car. So it's like somebody else is sharing pieces of my life and not mentioning you.
It's weird.
It's really weird.
It's very weird. So okay, this is how I look at it. Okay, this is how I look at it. To try to make an analogy out of it, right? It's like they have squatters' rights.
They moved into your house.
Yeah. So, all right.
They
So,
kicked you out.
well, that's what happened. They have squatters' rights on my work, on my name, my image, and everything else.
But they're saying it's their work.
I know. But it's my picture, and
Right.
and they show my byline.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like, they'll show they'll show one of the stories.
Sometimes they cut it off. Sometimes they show it.
Sometimes they show my name, and sometimes they cut it off.
Uh-huh.
It's weird. It's weird. So, okay, it's like they have squatters' rights. This is the way I look at it. Okay, I abandoned my career. Okay, does that make any sense?
No, you just left that. You left that.
Well, I
at that
abandoned it.
time. Well, no, they cut Cars Illustrated off. You didn't abandon it.
No. What I'm saying is, when I got out of the
You didn't
magazine,
leave Cars Illustrated. Wait, Charlie says, wait. I'm in the Summit Racing catalog on a T-shirt.
Yes,
I'm gonna
Charlie.
Buy a bunch, Charlie says.
yes, Charlie.
No,
wait.
Charlie, I saw on the page you were racing Tony, and Cars Illustrated says they're gonna make a T-shirt out of that photo and put it on Summit. So I didn't know.
Okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected on the one that they're selling right now. I'm driving the Turbo T-Type, and Charlie is driving the Dart Sport. Or Charlie, was I driving it that day?
No, you were driving the Roadrunner.
No, on the Summit magazine, the Summit
on the cover?
cover.
The Summit cover?
The
No.
T-shirt that Summit is selling is a cover of the magazine,
Oh yeah. Right.
and it's
Charlie, go look.
Charlie,
and tell
go
me
look.
if
I don't know
you're
if
on
I'm
there.
driving that car or you're driving that car.
No, there's another picture, black and white. of you
There's a black and white
racing Charlie.
picture of me racing Charlie. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one they said that they're gonna make another T-shirt out.
Oh, they're gonna make a second T-shirt out of
Yeah.
that. So what happened was Okay, so
Charlie says that's awesome. I'm driving.
you're driving. Okay. This is so weird.
It's really weird.
This is nearly 40 years ago. Okay. So, all right. Here's what happened. Okay. So I got in the magazine business and I was 23. Okay. I got in the magazine business. I worked my tail off. Hundreds of stories, all different magazines. Okay. But I focused on this one little magazine called Cars Illustrated because I loved it. Right. It was my baby. We were having fun with it. It was the only one where I could be the asshole street racer that I was. So when I decided that I wanted to go pursue Nitro, okay, because that was my whole intent the whole time. I said, I gotta go do Nitro, oh, right? I was crazy. I was really nuts. So I wanted to put that all behind me. You know, like I wanted to like sever my you know, my past, start off fresh, right? So I started the rumor, or my buddy Neil started the rumor. We started it together, that I was shot and killed in a bar in Queens. So if anybody asked, "Hey, where's Tony DeFeo?" Because at the time I was in countless magazines. I was all over the place. My byline was everywhere in the middle 1980s. And then all of a sudden it stopped. So I told Neil, anybody asks, right, you tell them I was shot and killed in a bar in Queens. And that was it, okay? So that's what Neil did. He went and he told everybody in the publishing business, everybody that I was shot and killed in a bar in Queens. So as far as anybody knew, I was dead, right?
People believe that.
People believed it, right? And in the meantime, I stopped everything I was doing there, and I started turning wrenches, fixing cars at my house, and traveling with Nitro cars. And I did that for a dozen years. I did get back into the magazines at some point after like a 10-year period of being away. And I, like for 3 or 4 years, I published a bunch of shit. I was in Hot Rod, I was in Superstock and Drag Illustrated, multiple issues. But for 8 to 10 year period, I was like, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. So more or less, I abandoned my old identity, and the people who are using it now basically have squatters' rights on it. 'Cause I abandoned it. When I abandoned it, they scooped it all up, and now
It's your work. You have a copyright to all of your work.
I don't care.
Yes, but I'm just saying you own all your
I'm
work.
Uncle Tony now. I'm
Right.
not that guy anymore.
You still own all your work, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm Uncle Tony now.
First North American rights means you can print it once. They have the first right to print it. And if it's used anyplace else,
All right, well then you go pursue
I'm
it.
just saying, just to let you know, it's still your work, son.
So if you guys are curious what we're talking about, there's a Cars Illustrated magazine Facebook page, and you can see what we're talking about now.
Right.
Why am I promoting it? Why did I
I
just?
don't know. Well, 'cause people have asked.
I'm such a dick.
People have asked if you are running the page.
Well, yeah, that's a problem too, because people
Right.
think that I'm associated with it, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form. Anything you see that's on that page, I did 35 years ago.
It's your work, but you're not.
It's my work,
promoting
but
it.
it's not me.
Oh my god. I think it's funny, but it also is like really bizarre.
I get a kick out of it.
Joe says this is ironic, dying and then rising, being talked about on Easter.
Good point.
Philip Reed sent you a super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Okay. He says, good news. The Mark 5 is running and driving again with no bad noises or smoke. That gas tank and fuel sender is in need of replacement. Almost back to square one.
Well, that's okay. You're making progress. Progress is, 2 steps forward, a step backwards, 2 steps forwards, 3 steps backwards, 2 steps backwards, another step backwards,
3
7 steps forward. That's how it works. That's how it works. Listen, I'll tell you what, no matter what you do, no matter what you do in life, okay? There's a meme that goes like this, right? I'll just, with my hand, I'll do it. There's like what people imagine, right? So it's like, point A, the beginning, and then success, point B. And people imagine it goes like this, okay?
That's pretty hilarious.
But no, success goes like this.
Oh wait, you didn't hit bottom near the table.
Oh yeah, you gotta hit the table a couple of times.
Yeah, you slammed into the table a few times. Mr. Scrap 17 says, Tony, your XJ is sagging. Towing the trailer. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Love you guys. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with a generation that desperately needs it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I can't take it with me. I'm 62. I'm gonna be dead soon. I gotta get it all out. Gotta get it all out.
Can you hear Tony?
Oh wow! So look at the hole
I
she's
didn't
digging.
plug in a mic to this, and I could plug in. I have to go get my stuff though. No, push this closer to Tony. Can you?
All right, and I'll move closer to it.
Okay.
Okay. I want my ice cream.
Alan McElroy sent you super chat.
Thank you.
Yo, Tony, how many cracked wheel rims have you seen?
How many-
Just swapped wheel rims?
How many what?
How many cracked wheel rims have you seen? Just swapped winter to summer tire on Buddy's Explorer.
Well, I was in New York everywhere all the time because there was potholes everywhere. I don't see very many cracked wheels anymore. I have one cracked wheel on the. I slid on ice and hit a curb with Mrs. Landy, so I couldn't find a replacement slot, so I had that one welded.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see them anymore really.
Zero says the new green screen backyard is awesome. Thanks, Zero.
Thank you.
Wait until you see the garden.
It's green screen. It's really my laundry room.
Right. Bill Whitaker, Tony, did you get the pic I sent you of the engine plate on the 318 in my MGB? Looking for your opinion on the mounting system.
I didn't see anything. As I've said countless times on this channel. I don't look at. Okay? I don't look at emails. I don't look at Messenger. I don't even know the passwords to any of those accounts. The only texts I answer are ones whose friends that I deal with regularly. Other than that, I live in utter and complete isolation. So you could send anything, and I will not see it. I also don't take anything in the mail. I just take whatever's in the mailbox, and I throw it away. The mailbox fills up. I take whatever's in there.
Mailbox?
What's that?
You open the mailbox?
I have in the past.
You have?
Yes.
Huh.
And I just throw it all away. I
do too. Most of it.
Right. So, but if I'm specifically waiting for a picture or something, then I'll tell Kathy, hey, you check out, see if this picture came, right? But I don't even know the password to the account, so I don't know.
Travis says times are messing us around in other countries. You guys went to summertime a few weeks ago. We're going back to standard time next week. Makes it 2 hours change in time zone difference. Oh, it's gonna get cold now?
It's not gonna get cold.
No.
It's spring. If it's cold now, it'd be like 55 degrees.
Tavo's down under.
Tavo's upside down.
He's upside down. Right. What's going on with that?
They're playing.
Oh. Did Maggie dig up that black box missing from the barge from Baltimore? I don't know. Was there missing black box?
Oh God, that's such fuckery.
I don't have time to watch the news. I'm sorry. I'm too busy doing the stuff that Tony doesn't want to do. Let's see. Controlling the clock is just as pernicious as controlling the currency.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad.
Dollywood, is that nearby? Have you been there?
Dollywood is in East Tennessee, right? That's in,
yeah.
No, where it's about Knoxville is
near Gatlinburg? I don't know. We've never been there.
No, I've never been there, but it's okay. So we're in Nashville, like we're in Murfreesboro. So if you look at the map of Tennessee, okay, map of Tennessee, we're the exact spot. Actually, there's a marker about 3 miles from here, at the corner of Broad Street and Thompson Lane. I don't know if it's still there. It was a monument or a marker that marks the geographic center of Tennessee. So if you want to know where we are, that's where we are, the exact center. And Knoxville is 175 miles to our east, and Memphis is 175 miles to our west.
Says, Rocco says Slag Hammer felt good other than the tires.
Slag Hammer felt great. Slag Hammer felt absolutely fantastic. It launched really hard. Like, I was surprised. It launched kind of like bottle rocket. The hit was great. Like that, right? And then it went away like right away. But it wasn't, it went away with power, right? Like the power was there. You could hear the engine, the tone was up and everything. It felt good. But it broke track. And I felt a little thunk under my right rear. Like, so in other words, like the car launched, okay? And I felt something go thunk in the right rear, right? And afterwards I thought that it broke the locating pin for the rear axle. So, but I kept running. Like I said, it launched really hard, went about 5-10 feet, someplace in that range, and like the acceleration kind of fell away. And at that point, it broke traction, and it was just skipping the tire, right? It's not a fuel car, so I got to blow the tires off, but it wasn't gripped to the track. So at that point, the acceleration kind of fell off. I late shifted second, right? I don't know why I did that. Maybe I was pondering the nudge that I felt, whatever it was. But I late shifted second. When I shifted second, and you can't see it on the video. Well, you can see it a little bit on the video. But I got way out of the groove when I hit second. So it spun both tires enough to point the car towards the center line. Not drastically, like this, but to where I had to drive it back into the groove. but it felt really, really strong on the hit, and the motor sounded crystal clear. It was beautiful. I could finally get the jetting right. Um, so we had like a 1.8 60-foot, right? Which I'm gonna say that's probably because it broke traction, because it felt like a 160 60-foot, right? It felt like something like the low 160s. It's what it felt like on the hit, and then it kind of like faded from there. So it ended up with a 180 something 60-foot. The truck that I was racing, I wasn't racing him. We were both making time shots, but just to gauge what was going on, the truck in the other lane went 730, right? The truck in the other lane went 730, and if you watch the video, we're like tied door handle to door handle, like the whole way out. At about 500 feet, he literally drove out of my life. Right? It was just like, because I'm seeing him out of the corner of my eye, right? And then all of a sudden he's like this, and I saw he cleared the traps, and at that point, I didn't drive it all the way through. Like I saw him pass through the traps, and I was like, nah, it was a shitty run anyway, and I let out. So I let out before, so I didn't get a good mile an hour reading on it either.
Mexican inspector saying I didn't see any scrolliness in that video.
It's because it's taken from the other lane. Kathy, how out of shape was the car?
Really all over the track, and you were heading towards the center line. So it kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then towards the center line. It was moving around a lot.
Yeah.
But I was behind you.
She was behind me, so she saw the car's movements, and the video was taken. His video is taken from the other lane, looking across, so you can't really see the car's trajectory. All you see is like this.
You can see it move towards the center line if you watch it from his side, but it's a very slow move towards the middle of the track.
I didn't really scrutinize it. I just says, oh look, there's a video, yay!
Right.
So we were door handle to door handle with a 730 truck to about the 500 foot mark. So I don't know. We'll run it again. I get fresh tires on it. We'll run it again.
Hey Tony, I was wondering if you have done any videos on how exactly to tell when things are just along for the ride and what you can get away with removing. Probably a stupid question, thanks.
Things that are along for the ride. Okay, so, all right, things that are along for the ride. Now, I'm not talking about drive, like, okay, I'm going to hit the road and go, drive around regular. I'm going to the track, and I'm going to try to, or I'm going to the street. I'm going to street race this thing, or I'm going to track race, where I'm going to race it. Things that are going along for the ride. Spare tire, jack, trunk mat, floor mats, stuff in the glove compartment, take all of the loose stuff that isn't like critical to the car's function, put it on a scale, and it's like you're gonna say, oh my God, that's 100 pounds worth of just nothing right there. It's a tenth of a second. If you're gonna go a little bit further than that, like for instance, I'm scrutinizing this XJ now to see where I've got weight. There's like a knee protector under the steering column, under the plastic, that's got to weigh 5 pounds. That's got to come out. I don't need my knees protected. I'm not going to crash into anything like that. You have to look around at the car and say, you got to go through the car and you got to say, do I need this? Is this important? Okay. I'm trying to think of examples of stuff that's like bolted in place. Like okay, on the older cars, they have on the Mopars, they have like hooks. Not all models, not all engines, but they have hooks for when they drop the thing in and they leave it in place. So that's where you would hook up if you're going to chain it out. Take those off. They're used for assembly line. Little things like that. You just go through the car and you say, well, does this have a value to its function, or is this just, does that make any sense? And there's just varying degrees of your fanaticism, In my mind, on a performance car, undercoating and sound deadener is just coming along for the ride. So you scrape all of the we scraped the undercoating out of a car. I don't remember which one it was, okay? But we scraped we had a car that had a lot of undercoating on it, right? Don't remember which one. We scraped all the undercoating off of it, cleaned out all of the dirt and whatnot that was stuck in like channels in the frame and so on and so forth. Pulled all the sound deadener out of it, right? And then swept it all up into piles and then in bags, right? And it was like 100 freaking pounds. You don't think, you don't climb under a car and say and chunk off a little piece of like undercoating and you're like, oh, that weighs a billionth of an ounce. Yeah, that does, but it has a billion friends under there, right? This one car, we scraped everything, we cleaned it, just cleaning the car, getting everything down to just metal again. And when we put it all into bags and weighed it, it was like 104 pounds. Stuff like that adds up. Stuff like that adds up.
Pitsky P sent you super chat.
Thank you.
Thinking about a 347 stroker for my Street 89 Mustang 5.0. My mechanic thinks I'd be unhappy with gains. My setup.
You're unhappy what?
With gains?
Okay, go ahead.
My setup. TFS 11R 190 heads, 410s, 1 3/4 long tubes, N41 Anderson cam. Any advice or ideas?
Okay, I'm not familiar with the cam grind. I don't understand why. So you go from a 302 cubic inch motor to a 347, and you've got the heads to support. Winnie, she's choking Maggie with that thing. You've got the heads to support the cubic inch. I don't know why you would be disappointed with the gains. I mean, that stroker is going to add a substantial amount of mid-range torque. So if it's within your budget, where you're not, betting the farm on this thing, it's like, oh, it's going to change my life. If it's within a reasonable part of your budget, I would just do it, man. You got nothing to lose.
She's dragging the dog around the yard. Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. Olive says, hey, everyone.
Oh, how are you?
Virtual at the Wharf says, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
South Farmington says, good evening, guys. Looking forward to Sunday, waiting UTG every week.
Sorry.
Improbable Suck says that combination is perfectly fine. What's on the 2B? The GNX and Callaway Corvette cover was epic. With the 68 Barracuda too.
I think that was my last issue of Cars Illustrated. That was the last issue of Cars Illustrated before it became Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords. There's somebody out there with a Grom. Yeah, that was the last. Was it? Yes, the GNX and the Callaway was the last issue of that magazine. I left CSK Publishing and went to Harris to do Supercar, Mustang Action, and Mopar Action, which is still there. I just saw a copy of it. When just at exactly the time that magazine finished production, and then from that point on, they changed the title of it from Cars Illustrated to Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords.
Mopar Action's done. The last issue was in February, I think.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I just saw it on the newsstand.
I know, that was like the last issue.
Okay. I started that magazine.
I know. Tony knows a Grom when he hears one.
Yeah, I love those things.
Happy Easter, Loud Pipe Save Lives, 69. Tony Pepperoni and Kathy Bananas.
I took my Super Cub to work today, and like, this is such a beautiful day, the Super Cub, and you got the motorcycle waiver where it's like, do that like that. So whenever I ride the Super Cub and I see a motorcycle cub, I go like this. You should see the looks I get. You should see the looks I get. When I'm on one of my Harleys, you know, I'll do the same thing. You know, yeah, bro. But when I ride the Super Cub, I go like this.
They probably think you wear a helmet all the time.
You should see the looks I get.
The very happy wave, Zero says, yeah. Is Maggie kicking Winnie's butt? I don't know. Usually Winnie's dragging Maggie around.
When he's eating a stick.
Oh, good. You meet the nicest people on a Honda.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
They wave happy. Saving Chevy says, I made it. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Tony, my first 2 car mags were High Performance Mopar and Mopar Action. Here's to 30 years of Mopar. Thanks.
I started both of those magazines.
Thank you, Rocco. That's a really nice thing.
Thank you, Rocco. At one time, I think I have the distinction because I put out the last issue of Mopar. So, okay, Mopar High Performance Mopar was a bi-monthly, right? It was every other month, and I put out my last issue of High Performance Mopar. As soon as that went to the printer, I went over to Harris and I started Mopar Action magazine with a lot of leftover material that I had that I was going to use in Mopar and High Performance Mopar. So I had the distinction. At one point, I went to the newsstand, and both of those magazines hit the newsstand on the same day. It's like the distributor, you know, they have this schedule. So both of those magazines, and I stopped. I was in Manhattan, and I think I had taken the ferry in that day, and there was a big newsstand, magazine stand in the ferry terminal, and I'll never forget that because it was just like there was High Performance Mopar, and then next to it was Mopar Action, and it was both the current issue, and I was in both of them. It was weird. It's very surreal.
Josh Pullman says, I have met some of the nicest people in Hondas.
I love Honda everything. I mean, I don't talk about it, but you know, but I have a lot of respect for Honda stuff. Always have.
Saving Chevy says, I love the Super Cup wave. That's how I wave at police in my Nova.
Well, you know what? Okay, so you know, you passing somebody on a freaking Hayabusa, okay, and then you got the bagger guys. You got everybody's you know riding
trying to be so cool.
their macho motorcycles. Oh, right, look at me, macho. So if you're gonna be on our little Super Cub, man, just own it. You know what I mean? It's like just own it. Just you know.
Manuel Perez says, Happy Easter, Tony and Kathy.
Happy Easter, bro.
Happy Easter. Ghost Flyer, has the pollinating happening in Middle Tennessee like it has in the Carolinas?
I'm looking at the duster behind Kathy right now, and it's covered. It's covered from one end to the other with pollen.
It's not as bad as I've seen it.
It's not as bad as it. Usually this time of the year, I get hit with allergies really bad. Like I get sick. Okay, and this year it's not really affecting me, so I don't know, but I guess I'm looking at the car behind her, and it's just covered in pollen. We got it tomorrow. We got to get the pressure washer out, and we got to clean everything.
I got it out. Ox Otto says, I miss the waiting for the next issue to come out magazine days.
Yeah.
Danny Boyd, I miss the days of a large selection of brand and model specific car magazines, but this is better, really.
Okay. I'm going to say, see, that was bad, okay? That was bad, and I was part of it. So going into the 1980s, there was okay, so you had Hot Rod, Carcraft, Popular Hot Rodding, Superstock, and Drag Illustrated. The only mark magazines, so there were little magazines, right, but that national circulation magazines. So there were little mark magazines. But going into the 80s, you had, I guess it's Hot Rod, Carcraft, Popular Hot Rodding, Superstock, and Drag Illustrated. And Drag Racing USA was gone already. High Performance Cars, okay. and you had a pretty unified culture, okay? A pretty unified culture. And then the Mark magazines, because it's like you got to keep cutting down the niche, cutting down the niche, cutting it down, cutting it down. Super Chevy was the only Mark magazine that was out there. We had Stock Car Racing too, which was a great magazine. I had zero interest in stock car racing, like less than zero interest in stock car racing. But I read that magazine like cover to cover, every issue. I never missed it because the tech in there and the insight was just so brilliant, you know. But then I started working for CSK. High Performance Pontiac was already out there, but it was a tiny magazine. Vet was already out there, it was a tiny magazine. And then we worked on building those niche titles. And High Performance Mopar, believe it or not, was one of the first widely published niche titles. And at the time, it was like yes, yes, we broke the ice. We put Mopar magazine on a newsstand, right? And now looking back at it, it fractured the culture. It wasn't a good thing, you know, for the bigger picture, if that makes any sense. Previous, like if you go back to the 1970s, car enthusiasts were much more well-rounded, okay? Like Ford guys knew what all of the Mopar guys were doing. Ford and Mopar guys knew what the Chevy guys were doing. You know, it was like a common culture, and you could actually like converse with people who were into other makes. Like it wasn't like it is today. Now it's like it's so fragmented. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like TV. If you go back and you look at TV, when TV was just the networks, you know, so it was just ABC, NBC, CBS, and then you had your local affiliates, right? The whole world watched 3 networks, right? So everybody was tuned in to like Who Shot JR, right? Everybody was there, right? Same thing with like radio, you know what I mean? Like you go back to that same era. Everybody had the same radio stations. So, you know, a handful of local radio stations. So everybody knew what the top 40 was. Everybody knew what this hit was, that what hit was. And then everything began to fragment in the 80s. So it was like, oh, I only listened to this. Oh, I only watched that.
Period, you would know music that you didn't like.
Yeah, you would know everything.
Right.
It was just popular culture. So you would know news that everybody knew. You
Right.
would know, you know. And then, like I says, in the 80s, everything got fragmented and broken down until today. We have a completely fractured culture. I have no idea what the people next door are watching right now or listening to or you know, culturally we have nothing in common with anybody except these tiny little slivers like this right now, what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's it. It's crazy. It's bad.
How would we live if we didn't have the internet? At this point.
Yeah, if the internet went down, like everybody's a stranger. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so you younger guys can't really imagine this, you know. But like, you go back to like that whole. So Who Shot JR? You know, you've got to be really old to know this because this is like 1979. Okay. So just to give an example, there was a show called Dallas, right? And this was like the most popular show. Everybody watched Dallas. So they had a cliffhanger episode where one of the main characters, this guy J.R. Ewing, okay, he was played by the I Love Jeannie guy, or not I Love Jeannie.
You don't even know his name.
I Dream of Jeannie. I don't know his name. I can't think of his name, but he was the same guy that's in I Dream of Jeannie. So he played this guy named J.R. Ewing, and at the
JR was asking for it.
J.R. was asking for it, right?
Larry Hagman, right.
Larry Hagman,
We should
yeah.
say his name since we're talking about
Well, I didn't know his name. I would have said it. So at the end of this season, the last scene was JR getting shot, okay? And then that was it. So it was like cliffhanger. Well,
we used to have seasons. People don't even know that.
Yes.
Either. Like, when did the season end?
so for months,
The new season started in September, right?
Yeah, okay, so for the whole summer.
Whole summer, people were like, "You shot JR."
Didn't matter where you were. You could be in the supermarket. You could be anywhere, okay? And you just strike up a conversation with somebody. So who do you think shot him? right? And everybody was on the same page. There was like it was crazy, you know. But there was a lot of things that were like that. Okay,
But people were waiting for it.
people,
Everybody kind of had a timeline, like because it was an end of the season, and then you
yeah,
had the whole summer to deliberate. And then certain songs came out in the summer, like very popular
yeah,
songs would be released in the summertime, and certain movies in the summertime.
yeah.
Like there was like a schedule.
There was a schedule.
There's a program.
But the point I'm trying to make though is that you had a cultural phenomenon where everybody was on the same page. Like everybody wanted to know who shot JR. And even if you hadn't followed it to that point, now you're going to go watch the reruns over the course of the summer so you can catch up on the plot. So this was it was a mass cultural phenomenon and everybody participated in it, and that's the kind of thing that it's like it's kind of a glue that holds society together. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody's kind of like, you know, and now we don't have anything like that anymore.
Marco says you should be happy, Tony. The internet finally broke the programming.
Okay, yes, I agree. Overall, it was a bad thing, and it was programming, and it was all a psyop, and it all goes back to Paperclip and MK Ultra and all the other shit. Go Kathy's like, oh my god, don't say that. Yeah, I understand all of that. I know, I know it all too well. Okay, but you're missing my point, right? You still had a cultural phenomenon. If you go back before then, it was like, you know, who won sports ball series, whatever it happened to be. Okay, but you don't have anything like that anymore. And it's just bad. It makes for a very weak society. We have no commonality with our neighbors.
There's no cohesiveness.
There's no cohesiveness.
Yeah. There's a fine balance, I think. I'm programmed to say don't talk about that.
Oh, she freaks out when I say certain.
Well, because the crawler.
I
There's
know.
certain things
I
that
know.
you really can't say on YouTube.
I
The
know.
crawler picks it up. And sometimes Tony forgets that.
Well, okay, MK Ultra
So I have to pay
and
attention, like-
Paperclip are crazy conspiracies, and only nutty people believe them. There, now the crawler's happy.
You know, the crawler's never happy. TV is awful. I never turn on my TV hardly, Danny Boyd says.
Oh, we only watch YouTube. That's it. Which is its own weird phenomenon. You know, it's just strange. Like it's not strange for you because
We watch it because this is what we do.
well, yeah, but it's also our entertainment.
But we would find other stuff if we didn't do this, I think.
Hey, Minnie,
You know?
you have a kiss? Thank you. I love you. You're such a good girl.
She's a very good girl. Let's see.
You say hi to
I
YouTube?
think UT is okay talking about anything that's been declassified. Well, okay, so I kind of like waved at him because like
You don't know
he said
wave. You
those.
spazzed
No,
out.
I did this. No, I did this. I
You
did
didn't do it
the.
casually.
Yeah, I did this. But I was like, this is because you never know what else is gonna come out of his mouth once you start saying there's certain things. So like, I give him the cut sign. Sunny Ray says I only watch YouTube.
Yeah, it's the only thing we watch. We just.
No more coffee for you, Tony.
What's that?
No more coffee for you, Mexican Spec says.
No more coffee now.
Let's see, why do people say mechanical secondaries over vacuum secondaries on manual cars?
So on an automatic, you're always on the floor, okay? Unless you're power shifting a manual, and you're sissy if you don't, but unless you're power shifting a manual, there's that period of time where you lift your foot off and then go back into it. There's a delay for the secondaries to reopen, right? Whereas a mechanical secondary carburetor, if you lift to shift, you're going right back into it. But who lifts to shift? If you lift to shift, you shouldn't be in a hot rod.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Saving Chevy says cars and conspiracies.
Trust me, I'm more into the conspiracies than I'm into cars.
That's not true.
But this is our business.
That's not true.
No, it is
You
true.
love cars.
Oh, I do love cars. But I love conspiracies too.
I love a lot of things.
Yeah, I love dogs.
Tim Jefferson is mentioning a conspiracy. I'm not going to mention it. Let's see. Modesto has a 4-speed, and I've always been afraid of power shifting.
Oh well, come on, man. Grow a pair.
Why? Why? How many transmissions have you broken?
You know what? You're not going to break any transmissions power shifting them. The transmit it either goes into gear or it doesn't go into gear. You're not going to break the transmission. Uh, the worst thing you're going to do is miss a gear and the motor goes, RPM goes up, and generally speaking, the valve springs it'll like the valve springs will be a rev limiter if you have no other form of rev limiter. You know what I'm saying? So unless you got a really wound up engine with super valve springs and everything else, it's an engine that's going to go to like 7,500 RPM. Unless you're dealing with something like that, if you miss a gear, the worst thing it does is it goes whee, and then and you're fine. Um, you know, have I ever broken a transmission power shifting?
That's 68. Yeah. The road run, not the road
That was a
run,
clutch
the
explosion.
Charger, yeah.
That wasn't the transmission. That was the clutch exploded.
Oh. Well, were you shifted?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, but that was a fourth gear shift.
Right.
I
Well,
was
okay.
I was racing a guy. I had a '68 Charger, 4-speed car,
And
and
the GTX, you blew up a lot of transmissions.
those
The
automatics.
GTX. No, you had 4 speeds in the GTX.
No, I
I
blew.
drove it with a 4 speed.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt the 4 speeds.
No,
No.
you were racing it like that.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt the 4 speeds. I didn't hurt the transmissions. We hurt a couple of motors.
How many times did you change the transmission?
Oh, lots of times. But I was
Right.
playing with different transmissions.
Oh, okay.
Um, but this is 40 years ago.
No, I know, but I know that I drove the car and it had a 4 speed.
Yes, it did. Um, but at any rate, I shifted fourth. So, yeah, I shifted fourth, and just as
Zero says, wait, but
what?
you don't need a guy telling you when to shift?
Not unless you're a famous Detroit street racer. In that case, you need to have somebody in the passenger seat yelling at you to shift. I left that part out, yeah. But I wasn't a famous Detroit street racer. I was just an unknown street rat from New York.
Okay, go ahead. Tell your story.
Oh, it was the oddest thing, right? So I
Shift.
shift. I pulled fourth, and as soon as I pulled fourth, the clutch exploded, and it took everything off the back of everything between the back of the motor and the transmission was just missing, and it took up the floor. It bent the.
Didn't you do one in front of my parents' house?
No, this was racing.
But you did one in front of my parents' house too, didn't you?
I blew. Yeah, I think I blew a clutch in front of your parents' house, but that wasn't nearly as spectacular as this one. I wasn't going 100 miles an hour with the floor coming in the car. It was gnarly, and it bent the trans tunnel like over my foot. That will get your attention. Let me tell you something. It will definitely get your attention. But yeah.
Somebody told you to shift more slowly and smoothly because they didn't like how you shifted
Please,
the
yeah.
Jeep. Sarah says, left shift, do it. Left shift, do it. From now on, if I'm in the car with you, I'm going to tell you when to shift.
Yeah, you need
okay?
to tell me when to shift. Actually, what I'll do is I'll call Zero.
Okay.
I'll get Zero on the
Text him while
phone.
you're driving.
Zero can listen to the tone of the engine
Okay,
and tell
good
me
idea.
when to shift.
Tony doing burnouts in front of Kathy's parents' house. Oh yeah.
Oh,
She
please.
burnouts everywhere in front of everybody's house. That's how you called your friends
That-
to come out.
No lie. No lie.
You pull up and you do a burnout.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. That's how you called for your friends.
Right.
You pull up in front of their house. We were teenagers, you know. You pull up in front of the house and you let fly. It happened so often, all the time, that like nobody really paid any attention to it. It was just like, I'm not gonna get out of the car and ring anybody's doorbell. I'll just do a burnout in front of their house. That was the normal thing.
It's true. Every day. So did you know? I heard it at night. It usually happens around midnight or so.
Yeah.
There's a car that comes down this street.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the name of the street, but you know the one at the end of our block.
Yes.
And they do like donuts.
Yeah, I see donut.
Did you see?
I see donut.
Skid marks.
Yeah.
It's a regular thing.
Yeah, I've been seeing them all over the neighborhood lately.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's having fun.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between doing a donut in the middle of the night, you know what I mean, as opposed to like a street takeover type of thing.
Oh yeah, that's totally. Yeah, but I hear them.
Yeah.
Have you heard them?
No,
Have you heard
there's a motorcycle that does it too.
Yeah.
There's a motorcycle that does donuts around here. 'Cause I keep seeing one single track, and it's very, very narrow. It's not like it's a car doing a one-wheel peel. It's
It
just,
did it the other night, and when I left the house, I saw the skid marks on the street. Pretty funny.
There goes a Grom.
There goes a Grom.
Yeah.
UTG street takeover. No. No. Danny Boy says I would just rev my engine a couple of times.
Yeah, burning the rubber is more fun.
It's so funny. But then you used to do it in front of people's houses who you didn't like, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone that you didn't like, you go in front of the house and do really long burnouts.
Honestly, I was a menace. I was a menace. Honestly, somebody should have shot
We
me.
were really bad.
I mean, I'm serious.
It's like bad. We were bad. But we thought that we were so good because we had good hearts. We were bad kids with good hearts.
I guess you could praise. I guess you could put it that way.
Right.
I was a menace. I
Yeah.
was out of control. I was a
Did really
freaking
bad
menace.
things. See, Dakota says, what is the point in a street takeover?
No point. No point. It's just to be destructive. Just to be.
I didn't think that we were intentionally, well, I don't want to say destructive.
No, it wasn't intentionally destructive.
No.
But I used to get a kick out of like digging holes in the pavement, in the asphalt. Just sit there.
Tony's burnouts had many different meanings.
What's that?
Stray Bullet says Tony's burnouts had many different meanings.
They did. That's how I communicated. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up.
No,
It's like
it's true.
it's how I communicated.
I hate you.
There was a way.
Burnouts,
If I
yeah.
liked you, you know what I mean.
Right.
I'd lay some stripes in front of your house. You know, if I didn't like you, I'd sit there and burn holes in the pavement. Am I making this up?
No.
Am I exaggerating even a little bit?
No. Yeah. We're really kind of bad. It's okay.
It was brutal.
Okay. South Farmington says, how many UTG hats do you have? Do you wear a bunch or is that the hat?
Oh, I have a bunch of them. I have a bunch. It's it's one of the benefits of selling merch. I have shirts and hats up the wazoo.
You see a lot of hats.
Yeah.
He's already destroyed a few already.
Oh yeah.
So. Hooligan, yeah.
I was bad.
Bad,
I
yeah.
was bad. That's why I have a hard time getting mad at the kids in the neighborhood here. They do the same thing I did. They do it with different machinery.
Yeah, no, I heard that kid at midnight and I was like, okay. I was laughing. Staten Island Hellraiser, yeah. I mean, we weren't the only one.
No.
There's lots of people who do the same thing.
Yes. Yes. Staten Island had a really good car culture back in the day.
Let's see. Let's see. Daniel Strayer. That dude that hates me is watching Dallas. I'm doing a burnout while the wind is blowing toward his house. Chris Cadman, hello, just tuned in. Are these two squatting in someone's backyard?
We extended the
Yeah, we're
backyard.
squatting.
It doesn't look like the old backyard.
Oh my goodness. Um, let's see. Good evening, DeFeos. What's up, Joe's Muscle Car Garage?
What has happened in Joe's Muscle Car Garage?
Street hieroglyphics. Yes, Rusty Fuel. Did you know Jungle Pam?
Not well. I mean, I've met her a couple of times, but I can't say I know her.
Okay. Hey, Tony, what makes the big block Chevelle the best overall muscle car of the muscle car era? I remember you saying it on a previous stream.
The 70 Chevelle, right, is just perfect. You know, I can explain it to you. So that there are intangibles, you know what I'm saying? And that car, in my mind, is loaded with those intangibles that no matter what you're into, okay, like you could be a hardcore Ford guy, you could be a hardcore Mopar guy. There are certain Mopars that are like that. There's certain Fords that are like that. But it doesn't matter what you're into. You can't look at an LS6 Chevelle and like as an overall package and just not be impressed by it. It's just loaded with those little intangibles that just it purposeful, muscular, beautiful, fucking beautiful cars.
Okay, Dakota's asking what happened to the tomatoes.
Not yet. Not yet.
It's too early.
Yes.
I'm gonna plant them soon. Soon.
Spring
I'm gonna
is
work on
just
the garden
getting
this week.
just getting going here.
Right now it's dirt. Tony / opinions on hot rodding or modifying luxury-ish cars, Grand Prix, Cordoba's T-Bird.
Last night, I binged watched there's a guy named Charles Phoenix. Okay, now how this guy doesn't have 1 million subs, I don't know. Okay, his name is Charles Phoenix. He's alternative lifestyle, let's just say. Okay, but I mean, it's the kind of thing where he makes no bones about it. He's flamboyant. Okay.
He does a great job.
He does a great job. He does the most fantastic videos. How this guy doesn't have 1 million subs, I don't know. Okay, Charles Phoenix. So, if you just into cars in general, go find this guy's channel, and check out some of his videos. Tell him UT sent you. Okay. So I binged watched a bunch of his videos last night. Okay, and he's very into the forward look era cars, like mid 55, let's say from 55 to 63. Okay, that era. So, and I'm watching these videos. He's featuring these cars, and they're all completely stock. They're all completely stock.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, I wouldn't dream of modifying this. Right? No, so in other words, you'll have to just go look at some of these cars, right? Rather than me try to describe it. You got to go see it for yourself. But as I'm watching these videos last night, it's funny because you asked me that question now, because this was a thought that was actually in my head as I'm watching these videos. And it's like I wouldn't dream of changing anything on that car. It is just absolutely perfect. I wouldn't change the air cleaner. I wouldn't do anything to it. I want it exactly the way it came from the factory.
I'd be afraid to touch those cars.
What's that?
I would be afraid to touch those cars or sit on the seat because I'd be afraid to rip the original interiors.
So it made me realize that there are certain cars that should be left alone, okay? And if it's a luxury car, right, don't modify the freaking thing, right? The people who designed it, the engineers, okay, designed that luxury into it. They designed that certain feel, that certain head, right? And to modify it, to make it faster or whatever you're doing, you're going to detract from the original intent and the original feel. You know, it's like when they design a car, okay, like, it's something we look at as just like it's an abstract. Oh, they design, the Blupmobile, whatever it is, right? But you don't understand that when they do design that car, every little bit is taken into account. So the sound of the exhaust, the amount of road feel that you get, the amount of road noise that you get, just all of the specific qualities and characteristics of that car are fine tuned by the engineers to give a certain result. So, in my mind, to modify a car that's intended for luxury is kind of taking away from the purpose of the car. Does that make any sense? Not to say don't do it if you're compelled to, but I think that you're going to miss the essence of the car. You're going to detract from the essence of the car by not enjoying it for the way it was designed.
Nick Bruni says, I know.
I know. Seriously, guys. Seriously. Charles Phoenix. This guy is absolutely awesome. Does the most fantastic car videos.
He's really into the styling.
Yeah. Yeah, very into the styling. I know. He's great. He's great. What was that station wagon he did? You said we had seen it before. I don't remember seeing it before.
Was it a Belvedere?
No, it was a black.
Yeah.
It was a '61 Dodge
I
wagon.
don't remember.
'61 Dodge. Was it a Phoenix? I don't
No,
remember.
it
It was a
wasn't
two-door hardtop, four-door hardtop station wagon. And he says, "It's Dodge, Dodge, Dodge."
In case you forget what you're in.
What was that?
In case you forget what you're driving
Yeah.
in.
Oh, he's great. He's absolutely great.
Rusty Fuel sends you super chat.
Thank you.
I need to make lean burn 1985 Chrysler Fifth Avenue totally reliable for non-mechanic lady. What
Okay.
should I replace fuel and distributor with?
Just if it's a 2-barrel, go find a BBD. Find like a late '60s, early '70s BBD, and just bolt that on there, okay? And a regular vacuum advanced distributor. That's it. Only two things you have to do.
So non-mechanic lady is going to be okay with that.
Yes, she'll be fine with that.
Michael Edwards sent you a super chat.
Thank you, Michael.
Tony, not sure how old you are, but did you ever get to meet Jungle, Jim, or Pam?
I'll be 62. No. Well, Jungle, no, I never met him. I've watched him race, but he died in 1977. September 30th, 1977. Why do I know that date? I don't know. So he died in 1977. At the time, I was 15 years old, so I was just going to the races and all of that. Pam, I met several years later. I want to say like around 1985, 1986, because she was friends with Nick Bonenfant. No, it was a little later than that, maybe 1988. She was friends with Nitro Nick Bonenfant. They came from the same area, and Nitro Nick was the clutch supplier. He was like the Ray Bestis guy, and he used to supply the clutch discs for the Nitro cars. And he had been lifelong friends with Pam, so he talked her into starting to come to the tracks again. So I was in that circle of people. Those are the people I was surrounded by at the time that I was learning all of this stuff. So I met her a couple of times during that period. She's such a sweetheart. Like, you know, you meet certain people and they just exude niceness. You know what I mean? And she was one of those people. Unlike some other very famous female figures in drag racing. But yeah, that was my impression of her the couple of times that our paths crossed.
Led Cephalin sent you a super chat. But
Thank you.
He's not asking a question, so I'll keep an eye out in
Okay.
case he comes later. Let me just check to make sure that they didn't write anything. Okay, not yet. All right.
The thing about Jungle, I never met him, obviously, but the thing about him was that I fell into the same circle of racers, the same circle of East Coast racers, within just a few years of his death. And the thing about him was that no matter who you talked to, right? Stories. So in other words, I get a picture of this. Okay, so like after a match race, so you're at Englishtown, you're at Echo, Maple Grove, wherever you ran this match race, right? And it's over, and everybody's just cleaning up and putting their stuff back in the trailer.
Right. I'm just letting you know.
What's that?
They're saying you didn't get the date right. September 9th, 1977.
Okay, well, I knew it was September '77.
Go ahead.
There would always be stories about him, right? Like he had left such an impression on the people who he raced with, right? That it extended, well past his death. That was interesting. And it's a true story. That's all I mean. It's a true story. Okay. I spent the weekend at Arnie Beswick's place. So this is in 1995. I want to say 1995, 1996. So I was doing a story for Superstock and Drag Illustrated on Arnie Beswick. So, and I had Arnie was like just an acquaintance. Like I knew him from just being around. At the time, he was racing, not pro mods, Top Sportsman. It was before pro mod became a thing. It was becoming a thing, right? So, I spent a weekend at the farm in Morrison, Illinois, and we did all the information. I got all the information I needed for the story, and then after that, it was just hanging out, right? So he was showing me. We were in his barn, okay, the farmer, right? And he was showing me all of these different things that he had aluminum Ram Air 5 blocks, and he was telling me the story about how they cast up these aluminum Ram Air 5 blocks for him. He had two of them, and we're talking about this and talking about that, like for hours. We're just and he's just showing me all of this amazing stuff from the past. Then he says, "Here, I want to show you something, right?" So we go to a different building. It was like an outbuilding, and it had like a loft, right? So he says, we go into the building. And he says, "Here, wait here." So he goes up into the loft, and he comes down, and he's got a yellow fire bottle, okay, like a Halen fire bottle. So he hands it to me. He says, "That was Jungle's." I says, "Get out," right? He says, "Yeah, he stayed here and he forgot his fire bottle." So that's the kind of impression that this guy left on his peers.
Rusty Fuel says thanks. Good to have confirmation.
Okay.
Sent you super chat. Let's see. It's talking about James Dean. Did you say the date of James Dean?
James Dean.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
We may have by accident.
September 9th. Okay, I thought it was the 30th.
I'm 33. I'm from the wrong era. I love the stories Tony is saving Chevy.
Dude, you missed some great stuff. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening right now. I mean, like these are the good old days for a lot of people. 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now, people are going to look back on this, and they're going to be like, and they're going to think of the no prep days and the people, the figures that are out there now doing, what they do. But I got to tell you, like, there was an era, especially in drag racing, okay, that ended around just about the era ended just as I came into it. Okay, like it was like on its way out. It was over by the time I really got into it. But there was an era in racing that was just magic, right? And it starts around 1965 ish, 1964, 1965. It starts there, and it ends around 1982, 1983. There's just this golden era, right? It was a combination. It was a combination of societal attitude, because at the time drag racing was the #1 spectator sport in the country. More people attended drag races over the course of than any other sport. Okay, during that period of time. There were drag strips everywhere, and there were fuel cars everywhere. And fuel cars are what brings people in. I don't care. I don't care who. I don't care who's running what. It doesn't make any difference. You have to be into that class of car or that type of racing to be drawn to it. But the exception is nitro cars. When you run nitro cars, 100% of everybody stops what they're doing to go watch the nitro cars. So during that period of time, 65 to let's say 85, like a 20-year period of time, okay, there were fuel cars in abundance. They were everywhere. It was mom and pop fuel cars, which is today it's inconceivable. How could you imagine running a Top Fuel drag? So it was just like a mom and pop operation. But there was hundreds of them, and they were all over the country, and the tracks would run them on a regular basis. And it was this combination of the cultural awareness of it, the popularity of it, the evolving technology, which always kept things interesting, right? There was never a period of really stagnation. And then the characters that were involved in it, because it took a special mindset to be involved in nitro racing at the time, and the people identified with it. But like the most important thing, it was the T-shirt era. Okay, so and I remember this. What?
Your brother says Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, James.
Happy Easter, James. What you wanted to do before you left?
So
Go ahead.
it was the T-shirt era. So this is something I remember very distinctly. And this I know to most people it seems trivial. It doesn't mean anything, okay? But it meant a lot. It meant a lot, okay? When you went to the races, okay, so let's just say they're having a funny car show at Englishtown or any track, okay, and they got 16 fuel cars. When you went through the pits, right, the pits were open, okay, there was no barriers. Like instead of so you go to a race today and the trailers are all parked like this and the cars are between the trailers, okay, and it's like special access. But in those days, in like the 70s and the 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, the pits were wide open, and there was no uniformity to the pits. So all of the cars were just kind of like willy-nilly here and there, and if you were a spectator, you could just like walk right up. You know, most people kept that respectable distance. You know what I mean? You don't need pylons and stanchions to keep everybody away.
Your brother says thank you for interrupting my brother's rant for me. You're welcome, James. Go ahead, Tony. Keep ranting.
So the cars were pitted all kinds of just willy-nilly, and the people, the crews, the owners, the drivers, the mechanics, everybody wore the same exact clothes as the people watching. You know what I'm saying? It created what's what I'm looking for, like an atmosphere of similarity. Okay, so like for instance, you see the guy, okay, ripping the heads off of the fuel car, right? And he's wearing the same T-shirt you are. He's wearing the same jeans you are. He's wearing the same sneakers or boots or whatever it is that you are. He looks like you, so you could see yourself doing it, like you were there. You know what I mean? And that meant a lot to like the generation of kids that were coming up there, because we identified with these people. And then you got into the 80s and like the uniforms started coming into it. You know, I was like, oh, you know, crew uniforms, and that was one of the things. Kathy, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Okay, I gave up deals, right, wrenching cars, because I refused to wear a crew shirt or a uniform. Right, I did it a couple of times, and I felt like I don't want to do this. Right, I don't want to wear somebody's logo on my. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had a conversation about it.
We had a conversation about that.
I remember it.
I gave up a lot of deals because I refused to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
It was like, no, man, this is how I come. This is how I woke up, and I put these fucking clothes on, and after I'm done at this track, I'm going to go eat, or I'm going to go to a bar, and I'm going to relax, and I'm not going to change, and I'm going to look exactly the same way. You know what I mean?
Your
I'm not
brother
going to...
says, is this going somewhere, or can I finish washing my dishes?
Yes, please do.
Go wash your dishes, James. Happy Easter. I have your T-shirt inside still, the Jungle Gym one that you used to wear while you were wrenching. It's full of stains. And
Really?
Holes, yeah. Stains and holes, and you used to wear it like that all the time to drop.
And do you have my Ray Bestis shirt too? I remember that one, the dirt shirt.
I don't know if I have the Ray Bestis one. It might have fallen apart. God help us, there's two of them. James is nothing like Tony.
No.
He's doing dishes. So
That's normal,
that
James.
should tell you right there.
Yeah, I watched somebody do dishes once. It was crazy. It was the scariest thing I ever saw. But yeah, I gave up deals. Kathy's my witness. I gave up paying deals because I refused to wear a crew uniform.
No, not asbestos. Race. Say it. I can't say it.
Oh, Ray Bestis.
Ray Bestis. Thank you. Not asbestos.
Like I would if you had a T-shirt, okay.
You two wearing a smock. Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Did you wear a smock?
I did occasionally when I worked for Jerry.
Yeah.
When I worked for Jerry Caminito, occasionally I would wear a smock.
Okay.
Because that was his thing. He would wear a smock.
But it was over your T-shirt.
It was just a regular. It was just like
T-shirt.
yeah. Jerry was so meticulous with everything that he did, and occasionally I can remember wearing a smock every now and then, but not when I was diving. My favorite, I hated clutch work. I despised clutch work, which means, of course, I had to be the clutch guy more often than I wanted to be, right? Like I would get called. So during a period of time that I was crewing a lot of different cars, I was a fill-in guy. So basically, what it means is that I knew the cars. I knew every position on the cars. So when, let's say, XYZ fuel car is going to this race, and their clutch guy can't make it, Nick Bonenfant, Jungle Pam's friend, would call me and say, "You want to work for so and so?" And they'll tell me what the pay and what the day was, what the position was, and what the pay was, and I could take it or leave it. So I would take it, and more often than not, I had to replace the clutch guy. And I despised doing the clutch work. Back then, the thing with doing the clutches was now remember, you got an hour between, especially in a match race, you got 1 hour to turn the freaking car around. So doing the clutch is so involved that a lot of times, to get it done in time, and especially if you knew that there was damage on the clutch, to get it done, you'd actually start taking the car apart as it's being towed back to the pits. So you'd go meet the car at the shutoff area, throw the chute inside of it, hook up the tow vehicle, and then start pulling it. And if you were the clutch guy, you were the guy who would be riding the car back and, like steering with one hand, and with the other hand, you're pulling off the duct tape, because all the openings get covered with duct tape. You're pulling off the duct tape, you got a wrench on another hand, you got a half-inch wrench, and you're taking the inspection covers off, and you're plopping all that stuff in the seat. And you're doing all that literally as you're towing the car back to the pits. And this shit is blazing hot. Like, you couldn't believe how hot this shit was. During that period of time, I had no feeling in any of my fingers. They were all burned and calloused. So, but I despised doing the clutch work, but it was good pay. So, do the clutch work. My favorite position was as diver. I loved being the diver. The only thing I didn't like about being a diver was every time you turn around, there's ankles. There's always ankles around you, right? It doesn't bother me if it's girls, but it's guys' ankles all around you, and I'm like, I hate that, right? But I loved being the diver. So the diver is the guy who drops the pan, right? So you dump the oil, which is magic. Okay, when you work on nitro cars, the thing comes in from the pit. You get it back to the pits. It goes up in the air. If you're a diver, you grab a drain pan, you slide it under the motor, you pop the drain plug out, and you get the oil out of the motor, and it smells like heaven, because it's hot and it's nitrated, and it's the most beautiful smell you'll ever smell. Okay, so while it's draining out, you pop the two oil lines off. You got two oil lines, two feed lines that go to the pump. You take those off, then you take a speed wrench and you knock down all the nuts that hold the pan on. You get the pan down, you give a look to see if there's any damage, and then you start looking at bearings. So that was my favorite position, and people hated it. Nobody wanted to be a diver. I loved being a diver. And
because you can smell the oil pan, that's why.
Oh yeah,
Smell the oil pan.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Freaking nut.
And you'd always get it on you, and every you'd always end up at a bar afterwards, and you'd sit there at the bar having your after a race beer, and you'd smell like the oil pan, and I was like, yes, right.
Your brother says, "Okay, I'm back. Thanks for pausing. I didn't want to miss anything." Okay, I got a question. Here's one for you.
What's that?
Hang on. So, is the uniform why you went and worked for Shirley Muldowney?
No. Well, I was never offered a job working for Shirley Muldowney, but we match raced her many times, and she's not my favorite human.
Okay. She probably doesn't like you either.
So the thing about diving, okay, was that's where I really learned how those engines work. Okay, like you can't learn, and see, this is a dead science, because everything I'm talking about now doesn't really exist anymore. All right, you can't learn about how those engines work from the top. You can get an idea by reading plugs, right, and stuff like that, right? But you really start to understand how those engines work when you connect the cause and effect of the plug reading and the marks on the bearing. Okay, because you read the bearings on these things, and it tells you depending on where the damage. When I say damage, damage is normal, right? They'll distort the bearings a little bit, they'll scuff the bearings a little bit, and you can start to actually understand how those engines work by reading the bearings and damage. You could see the damage firsthand and then put everything together. It's like a cause and effect. Oh, okay, that cylinder was lean, right? And it pounded the bearing right here. Or that cylinder went fat, it went dead, it tried the hydraulic, and it pounded the bearing here, right? And that was really how I started to and it started to learn the difference in tune-ups too.
The comments are going in all different directions because, you're on a roll.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just letting you know.
I'm sorry.
Somebody killed someone with a mop. Hey guys, easy. Mop buckets can kill.
I'm sorry. I don't get nostalgic about many things, okay? But that stuff I'm really.
Oh man. It's too funny, Tony. So go ahead, finish your story.
I don't even know where I was. I
You're
was
talking
off
about
on a tangent.
reading bearings and
Yeah, so that's how I learned how those engines work by associating damage found on, extrapolating damage found on a spark
Oh,
plug.
here's a question. How long did it take to turn a car around?
At a match race you've got an hour, right? If you're with one of the featured cars, they'll push it out. You'll get an extra 20 minutes or a half hour if you need it, if the car's really friggin' hurt. But generally speaking, an hour you have to turn these things around.
Okay.
They shortened at the time that I was doing it. Okay, at NHRA national events, they shortened it to 45 minutes, which was like, you have no idea. Okay, when you've made a run with this car, okay, and you've got a 45-minute turnaround, and you hurt the short block, right? So now like literally everything comes apart, right? Most of the time the crank stays intact, okay. The block stays intact, and you'll have some damage, piston damage, stuff like that. You can turn it around pretty quickly. The cylinders are removable on those engines, so even if like you burn a piston and you really screw up a cylinder wall, you pop the liner out, you drop a new liner in it, and you're good to go. But if by chance you hurt the crank or anything down there like that, you got 45 minutes. You got 45 freaking minutes to strip this thing and swap in another block. And that's what pushed the little guy out. It was stuff like that pushed, you couldn't do it anymore. Now you needed to have 4 engines, 5 engines ready to go to drop in because they shortened that time. Where when that extra 15 minutes allowed you to actually make a swap or repair on a crank. I could swap a crank out in that hour period of time, but you can't swap that crank out in 45 minutes. So that was a big deal.
Are you done?
I think so.
You
I'm
think so?
finished.
It's okay. I don't want to ask you another question
I'm
if you're not
finished.
finished. Okay, so Bub Schlub says, Uncle Tony, I got ripped off on an eBay Motors for $20K. What can I do?
I know.
Shouldn't eBay take care of that?
Yeah,
Isn't that eBay's job?
I have no idea, bro.
eBay should take care of that.
I have no idea.
It depends on how you got ripped off.
Yeah, see, I'm one of those people. I don't expect everybody to be like me. I'm one of those people that if I get burned on something like that, I just chalk it up. You know what I mean? I just chalk it up. And it's like, I'm not going to make that mistake
Depends on
again.
what it is.
What I have found is that, not just my experience, but other people's experience. What I have found is that it's more cost, more complication, more time to try to recoup. And there's a likelihood you're not going to recoup. There's more aggravation involved than just saying, I'm not going to let that happen again. And the next time you don't let it happen. So it just depends on your tolerance for stuff. I don't have a tolerance for like back and forth, and oh, here's the
Well,
evidence.
20
So
grand
here's
is a lot. It's
20
not
grand
like
is a
it's
lot.
a small amount of money.
20 grand is a lot, but I don't know. I don't know how to advise you because I,
Don't know the circumstances.
yeah.
C. Roma says, I cleaned oil drain pans at Englishtown for Jerry Caminito's Blue Thunder only
You too?
for one day.
Okay, was he the most difficult person on earth? I worked for Jerry on and off for years. Okay, he's literally the most difficult human on the planet. He did it once.
I think your dog is killing something right now.
No, she's just playing.
No, they're playing. They're running around. Never by sight unseen. When should you pick a tunnel ram over a single plane or dual plane?
Say that again now?
Tyler Parson. When should you pick a tunnel ram over a single plane or dual plane?
When you're looking for runner length. So the purpose of a tunnel ram, a ram, okay, tunnel ram, cross ram, any ram manifold. The purpose of that is to have a runner length that'll tune at a certain RPM. The ram effect comes from a sonic pulse that runs up and down the runner. Okay, so the exhaust valve closes. When the exhaust valve closes, there's a sonic pulse that heads back up the runner. Okay, and then when the valve opens again, it reverses and it actually rams mixture into the engine. It's a form of atmospheric supercharging. So anytime you see a manifold with the word ram in there, it means it's specifically designed to aid that sonic pulse. So when do you choose a tunnel ram over
Winnie's
let's
up
say,
here on the table. I think she needs water. I'm gonna run in the house for 1 second
All
because
right,
she's
yeah.
panting. But
yeah.
come
So
on, Winnie.
runner length can be the same on a single or a dual plane manifold as a tunnel ram, but the tunnel ram gives it a very straight shot. The curves in a manifold do affect the way the mixture is distributed. So the pulse doesn't care if it's straight or if it's around a curve, but the mixture that's being carried does care if it's around a curve. So the tunnel ram or a cross ram, where you've got direct straight runners, means that the fuel is going to be, the heavier particles are going to be delivered in a more uniform fashion than they will with a manifold that has different shapes to it. And that's the reason why you would use a tunnel ram versus a single plane or a dual plane intake manifold. It's just a more efficient way. And generally speaking, if you're going to run more than one carburetor, so the benefit of running multiple carburation is that you have a more direct, your jetting has a more direct on a particular cylinder. So like for instance, if you're dealing with a single 4-barrel, so single 4 barrels are easier to work with, they're easier to get a general tune, but you can't get a very specific tune because you've got groups of cylinders that are feeding from the plenum. And that plenum, the carburetor is going to drop, is going to send X amount of fuel into this common plenum for these cylinders to fight over. So it's hard to get very precise jetting. When you're dealing with a dual quad on a tunnel ram, the runner is directly under each section of the carburetor. So even if you've got a fairly big plenum between the runners and the carburetor, it's still, the cylinder has a direct pull over a specific section of the carburetor. So you can make more precise jetting change, which is something I just literally did today on Slag Hammer, because I showed the run plugs, and one of them looked a little lean, so I wanted to fatten that up. So I went from I had a 72 in there, and I put a 74. Just wanted to get a little more. And then on the opposite side of the motor, which I hadn't shown, the number 6 cylinder looked like it was a little fat. So I went from a 76 in that one to a 72. I don't remember. But I can do that because now I can identify exactly what section of the carburation is feeding that cylinder. That's the benefit of running dual quads on a tunnel ram.
Oh no, Tony.
What?
Chris Greenaway.
Oh my God.
He's making a sad face.
What's the matter with his Montego?
I don't know. He says, used to be a regular here, now I feel lost in space.
Oh no, Chris.
Chris, don't feel lost in
Please.
space. You're still a regular.
Do you have my Chris Greenaway T-shirt?
Tell him he's a regular.
Of course he's a regular.
Of course you're a regular. Don't be ridiculous.
My God, the most regular.
Yeah. No sad face.
You can't be sad here.
No sadness allowed.
No sadness allowed.
Let's see. Let me see. Silence. You were talking for a while.
I was, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, don't be sorry.
Oh, I ran
what you
off.
do.
I ran off on a nostalgia
Tangent.
tangent.
Okay, so Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul.
Mike
It comes
Tyson
down to
all
stamina.
day.
What do you think, Tony?
Mike Tyson all day. Oh please. Everybody underestimates Tyson. Do not ever Tyson is a machine. He's the war machine. There's no way. No way.
Oh, what's Tony's opinion on the new Mike Tyson fight? Okay, you just answered that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chris gets his brand and roughage very regular. Okay,
Nice.
number.
Nice.
So a neighbor says AVS secondary bog fix.
Tighten it up.
What?
Tighten up the air door. Tighten the spring on the air door. That's what it's there for.
What are your tricks for tuning old school carburetors?
I have no tricks. I don't do anything that isn't common knowledge, really. One thing I never did before, what Andy would actually, I never really bothered with idle circuitry, other than just to tune it. And Andy turned me onto some things that I've been playing with and having really good results with. But I have no tricks. There are no tricks. Like everything I do is maybe it's not common knowledge anymore because carburetor days are on their way out, mostly over. But I don't have any tricks.
Scarlet Fire, why did many mid-60s cars have a vacuum gauge on the console?
They used them for both, depending on the car now. It was either an economy meter, okay, so like let's say you had a Corvair and had the optional, vacuum gauge. In certain cars, it was labeled as an economy meter. So you watch the gauge; it would be calibrated, so illustrated, so that when you gave it gas, the vacuum fell off. It was in the the waste zone. You know what I mean? And if you were driving with a light foot and you had a lot of vacuum, it would be in the green. You were doing good, and they work. Let me tell you something. If you have a vacuum gauge in your car and you drive to the highest vacuum, you would be amazed at how wasteful or how much throttle position you waste, okay, to maintain a given speed. So if you pay attention to the vacuum gauge and always drive to the highest vacuum, you would be amazed. Like you could pick up 3-4 miles to the gallon just by paying attention to the gauge. And then for other cars where they were performance oriented, that same gauge would be labeled, performance indicator, let's just say. And it was like when you had low vacuum, it would be like, yes, this is good, you're making power. You see what I'm saying? So it's like same gauge, two different purposes.
Okay, let's see. Tony, I want to build a 381 stroker 360 crank. What pistons do I use?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
How would they find out?
So when you say what pistons do you use, are you talking about a cast, a forged, a hypertectic? Are you talking about a particular configuration ring size, ring package, compression height. I don't know. It's just such a broad question. I don't even know where to begin.
You have to be more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when if you gave me a really specific answer, I would recommend that you talk to piston manufacturers and get their opinion because, again, see, it's just such a wide variety.
Let's see. Um, Rocco says, Tony, what's on top for this week? Test Mule, XJ Magnus, Big Richard.
Okay.
What about Kiwi's Hemi?
Yes. So tomorrow. No, I tell you what. I don't think we're going to do a video tomorrow because I have a ton of pressure washing to do. Tomorrow's pressure washing day.
People love that.
Yeah, but I'm not
You
going
don't want to make a pressure washing video?
I'm not going to make a pressure washing video.
Come on. It will be great.
Tomorrow I am spending the day cleaning things, right?
People want to see you clean things.
I'm not gonna make a video pressure washing things.
Happy Easter, Nitro Mike.
The next video I do is going to be a comparison between first and second generation Hemi blocks because I have both of them sitting side by side in the shop right now.
Rocco says pressure washing video will have 1 million views.
Yeah, yeah. I don't need 1 million views that badly. What? What was that look?
April Fool's Day. Don't believe him, Uncle Cabby. Sultan Zimmerman.
So.
Is tomorrow April Fool's?
Yeah, tomorrow's
April
April
Fool's. We're not putting a video out tomorrow.
I had one planned, but I had a really cool April Fool's video,
Yeah.
but the other parties never. Right, so much for that. The next video we're gonna do is gonna be a side by side comparison of a first and second generation Hemi block, and I'm trying to think where I can get my hands on a third gen because that would be nice if I could have the 3 generations of Hemi next to each other and do a comparison between all 3 of them. But definitely we're gonna do the first and second generation. The red XJ. I put the alternator in it today. Charge is good. Everything's good. Tomorrow I'm going to bring it here to the house, clean it, and then Friday night I'm going to run it out to Etheridge and get our first baseline times on it.
I didn't get the dog sitter.
I don't need you for that one.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't need you for that one.
You need to take the GoPro?
I'll take the GoPro. I need you to come when it's there's going to be like visuals, like important visuals and trailer and all the other stuff.
Kind that I don't get.
You missed one.
I screwed up.
I mean, see if Doris is available. If she's available,
Okay.
Right? You come with me. I'm just saying it's not necessary for that one. So Friday, I plan on taking the red XJ to Etheridge and get our baseline passes on it. And then we'll assess what we're going to do next. I don't know if we're going to tune it first or work on traction first. I think I'm probably going to work on traction first. And our last resort is going to be putting a short grip in it.
Okay.
So I want to get as much traction as I can with the open rear, and then we'll go from there.
I saw somebody had asked, like, you can't cheat. Like, did a short grip come in that year?
Year, make, model specific parts. Unless, if I can't go.
Kathy's not needed.
She's always needed. She edits all of these things. She runs the business. No, the Jeep is okay. It's a rock auto build. This is how I look at it. The only parts that can go on this Jeep are ones that I can go to Rock Auto and put in year, make, model specific. That is what goes into the Jeep. So broker is out of the question. Different types of pistons are out of the question. Aftermarket or high performance camshaft is out of the question. All that stuff is completely off the table. The only things that are allowed to be put on that car are year, make, model specific things.
No, it's a cigarette. Tell him it's a cigarette.
It's a cigarette. It's a cigarette.
Yeah.
I roll my own.
He rolls his own cigarettes. Tavo says I need Kathy to do my filming and editing. You're too far away, Tavo. Let's see. Now Tony is going to get mobbed by fans. Are you going to get mobbed? Shh. Stop it.
I hide in crowds very effectively.
Robbie Autry, Uncle Tony, when will you be building the engine for Dr. Art and Kiwi?
When am I going to do what?
Building the engine for Dr. Art and Kiwi.
Dr. Art is building that 318.
Okay. Stop it.
I'm building 2 engines for Kiwi. I'm building the Hemi that's going to go into Big Richard after Power Tour. And I probably won't even work on that engine until like way after Power Tour. I don't think that engine is going to get finished this year.
Are they going on Power Tour, or are they just going to go to the Nashville stop?
We're going to
Not
go...
the stop here at the Speedway.
So, no, so Kiwi is going to take Large Marge.
Mm-hmm.
His guy Steve, who works for him, is going to take his Olds 88.
Okay.
I love this car. I love this car.
I'll take the Roadrunner.
I'm not taking our Roadrunner.
I'll take it out of the garage.
Nothing.
You can take the Charger and I'll take the Roadrunner.
You can take.
No? Okay.
You could take any car you want, but I'm not feeding that thing and no.
Does it burn too much gas?
It'll burn a lot of gas.
All right,
It's
we'll
a
take the
miserable
Charger.
trip. We can take a couple of cars. Well, you drive the Charger, I'll drive the Swinger. How's that sound?
No, we'll just take the Charger.
Why don't we take a couple of cars? We
Why
have
would
so
we
many
take 2?
freaking cars.
Why
We'll
would
just
we
take some.
2? I was just busting your chops.
So Kiwi is going to take Large Marge. His guy Steve is going to take his Olds. Dr. Art's going to have Big Richard. I'm going to have the Charger. And I don't know. I think there's another. There may be 1 or 2 other people who are going to join us. But we're not going to be part of the official Power Tour thing. We're just going to run up to Bowling Green.
Lot.
What's that?
You're parking in the
Yeah, we're
parking
going to hang out in the parking lot. So the plan is to go to Bowling Green, and then the next day come here to Nashville. So we're only going to be at 2 stops.
Are we going to
at this
Bowling
thing.
Green?
Yeah, we're
I
going
need to know this.
Yes, we're going to Bowling Green.
I need to know this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have to tell Doris.
Well, tell her.
Oh my gosh, so much in my brain. Okay, we're going to Bowling Green.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the day before the Speedway.
Yes.
So I need her the day before. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So
I'm glad I said something.
yeah. So don't be looking for us in the thing, but if you're hanging out, like if you're at either of these events, we'll be in the parking lot someplace with our cars.
Okay, we'll just be standing in the parking lot by ourselves.
No, we'll be hanging out.
Okay. Tony, don't let me forget to get the dog sitter. Let's see.
Winnie.
Winnie, quiet. Is the bowling in Bowling Green?
I don't think they have bowling there. They should. You would think they'd have a massive bowling alley there, but
No, they have a roller coaster.
they have a Corvette museum. They should have a bowling
Corvette
alley
Museum,
instead.
Yeah. Is that open anymore? It
Yeah.
collapsed.
Oh, that was
They
years ago. They fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
It didn't collapse. It was a sinkhole.
sinkhole, right. Swap motors between Slag Hammer and the 68 Roadrunner. Oh, so that's why it would cost so much in gas if I drove the 68 Roadrunner, because
There's a lot of
I didn't know
carburetors.
we were going to Bowling Green.
No, it has a 4,000 RPM converter. It's got a stupid big cam in it. It has a lot of carburetors on top and a 410 gear. It's just not a happy thing to road trip with.
I thought we were just going to Nashville Super Speed.
No, we're gonna go to Bowling Green
Okay.
and
thanks
then
for
Nashville the
telling
next
me.
day.
Oh my goodness. GS Nationals are in Bowling Green. Great show.
Yeah. They have LS Fest. I love LS Fest. It's actually one of my favorite.
Is it? You've
Yeah.
never been?
I mean,
Have you
I've never
gone?
been. before we started doing YouTube,
Oh, okay.
I went to the first 3 of them. I think they had there.
T. Harrison says, I've heard of a heavy action bowling scene in New York City in the 60s and 70s.
There was a lot of bowling going on there. I tried it. I'm not able to do it. Oh, the leagues, they were crazy.
They had the shirts.
Yes, yes, I forgot about that.
Names on them.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh no, I never did a league or anything like that. I
Yeah.
tried bowling and I just had miserable failure. It was terrible. But yeah, there was a bowling fanaticism in New York in the 70s. I forgot about that.
Funny. Okay, so you got 5 minutes, Tony.
My God, how did that go so fast?
It just went fast.
That's because I was yapping about
You were yapping the whole
diving on
time.
nitro cars.
Tony, name your favorite carburetor.
The AFB.
Yeah.
It's just simple. No, the BBD. Well, it's a combination, a cross. My favorite is the BBD. It's the only carburetor you could fix its major problems without taking it apart. It has an external needle and seat assembly. You know, it's dumping fuel. Just change the needle and seat. You don't have to take the top of it apart. It's the only carburetor you can repair without gaskets. So I'd say the BBD is my favorite. The AFB is my second favorite. Again, just for simplicity's sake. I begrudgingly adopt Hollies because you can't get the same performance level out of an AFB that you can from a Holly. You can't get the same tuning. You can't. So, but yeah, if I had to pick one carburetor, like to just, here, it just makes me happy every time I work on it. It's going to be a BBD.
Okay, so Chris Greenaway has a comment.
Yes.
He's a regular,
I know, Chris.
Okay. UTG. So what you're saying, we are using our mind, our brain power, like the original intention of Mission Impossible, using brain power, not buying power for Improbable, correct?
Exactly. It's the same exact concept.
Hello, Hoobies.
Only working with the parts that are there. That's it. Parts that are there, or replacement that belongs in there, right? What can we get out of it? That's the whole point of it. That was the whole point of Mission Impossible. Was take a stock engine. What can we get out of this stock engine? So that's what we're doing with Mission Improbable. Here's a stock car. What can we get out of the stock car? And I feel bad because I see a lot of comments that are like, I love this channel, but I have no interest in the Jeep stuff, right?
Hey, come here.
Mission Improbable has nothing to do with Jeeps. We're using a Jeep to apply hot rod science.
It's an exercise.
It's an exercise.
You have to put that. You have to make a disclaimer.
Everything has to be a disclaimer.
This is an exercise, like before every video. This is an exercise. You don't have to use a Jeep.
You don't. This stuff applies across the board to everything.
Right.
You can use this technology on your ride-on lawnmower. Right?
Right.
It's the same exact thing.
I think you need to do that. I think you need to make a disclaimer before your videos.
That's not a bad idea. We print out a disclaimer and just put it in.
You know how people are usually like, oh, don't do this at home? No, you have to just put a UTG disclaimer
Brilliant.
in front of every video. So
Not in front of every video, but in front of definitely the
some videos.
Mission Improbable
Yeah.
ones.
This is not Jeep advice, right, Ari?
All right.
All right.
Ready to wrap it up?
I think so.
I want my ice cream. I can't have my ice cream until after the live. You did get me ice cream, right?
Maybe I did. Maybe I did.
Oh, don't fucking tease me like that. Did you get me ice cream?
I don't know. What do you think?
You told me yesterday that you got ice cream. Did you get me ice cream for today?
I bought you 2 ice creams.
Are they both chocolate chip cookie dough?
No, one is chocolate chip cookie dough and one is coffee chocolate chip.
Oh, I had the cookie dough last night. That's okay. I
So
enjoyed
you
the
have
chocolate
coffee
chip.
chocolate chip.
Yeah.
Is there gelato? No, there's
No,
not.
no,
I
it's
love gelato though.
No. So
Thank you, Danny boy.
I didn't see Jamie on tonight, and I don't know if
He may
Ari.
have been, but you were talking a
Oh,
lot.
jeez,
so-
I'm sorry.
No, it's your job. I'm teasing you.
It is my job, isn't it?
I'm teasing you. No, I didn't get to a lot of the comments because you were on.
I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's okay. You were talking about topics that interested you.
Yeah, but this is my night to commune with
No, you're good.
our
You're
viewers.
good. He may have been in and out. We don't know. I don't think he is. I think I would have seen it.
Okay. Well, either way, if Ari
The
is
rest says we're fine.
Is Ari doing his after
I
show?
think he might be. Ari, you doing your show tonight? Maybe.
Okay.
I
So
don't know. Let me see.
Ari does a show
He
called.
says I'll be going live. Yeah.
Okay, so Ari does a show called After the Tony, right? So you can go over Ari's channel. You want to keep hanging out? You go over to Ari's channel, Ari DeBernia.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I always send people. Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage also does a live alongside ours. Like they overlap. He starts, we finish. So bounce between Ari's channel and Jamie's channel. It's just one big happy family.
Your
Everybody's
brother
cool.
says, please say some more.
Oh,
Happy
no.
Easter, James.
I've said too much. I've already said too much. They're coming to get me. So yeah, those guys are mods, right?
Thanks, guys.
Yes. Ari, Fubar, Mexican Spec, Zero. Fubar, thank you guys. And everybody contributed to Super Chat. Thank you so much. It pays for all of the damage.
Zero says shift.
Shit, no. So what I'll do is I'll let you know when I'm driving the truck, okay? And you can text me when to shift.
Yeah.
I'll just put that's what we'll do, bro. I'll put my phone on buzz and I'll stick it in my pocket, okay? Oh, better than that, I'll sit on it, all right? I'll sit on
You
it. So
just copy that, boss.
so when it's time to shift, I'll feel my naughty bits vibrate.
Oh, Tony.
You like that, right? Okay, let's do it that way.
No.
And then you just tell me when to. I'll tell you when I'm driving it, and you tell me when to shift.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So, I lost my train of thought. Everybody could super chat. Thank you so much. You're paying for all of the damage that my puppy does. Very important because she's eating me literally at house and home. It's the most ridiculous, but that's okay.
We're training her. She has to be trained.
We love her.
So
Yeah.
I have to buy treats.
And you guys pay for it.
I'm
Thank
making them now. I'm making
Thank you
the
so
treats
much.
now because it's cheaper than buying them.
you.
We are going to do video eventually.
The only thing more expensive than a fuel car is a border collie. It's crazy.
She's a good girl.
And everybody contributed just your presence and your conversation. Thank you equally. We genuinely appreciate each and every one of you, even the trolls. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this for a living, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world, but here we are doing it. So thank you all so much. You have no idea how grateful we are. And that's it, right?
I think so.
I think so. Make this stop now. I want my ice cream.
Are we done?
I'm just going to get my
Happy
ice cream.
Easter, everybody.
You finish this off. Happy
Thank
Easter, everybody.
you. Have a good night.